and gentlemen, Curtis Blackwell here with Solid Video Productions, doing behind the scenes. And with me today is a legend, hydroplane.
A myth.
No, a myth. Mr. Pat O'Day. Hi Pat, how you doing?
Great, great. Curtis, nice to be back on your show again. And of course, it's very nice to be here on the shores of Lake Washington. And it's the 1st of August, and all of Seattle's going to congregate around these hallowed shores and celebrate summer and celebrate the enormous economic and industrial and technical strength of Seattle. Celebrate rooster tails. Hydroplane.
Hydroplane. Yeah.
Hydroplane, yeah. This is there's the Rose Bowl associated with the Rose Festival in Pasadena. There's, the Winter Festival in Minneapolis, St. Paul, with our ice sculptures. And then there's Seattle. Seafair. The Seafair just couldn't be complete without the real finality, the final of the event, which is that marriage between the city and the water in the form of throwing rooster tails up in the air, and everybody screaming and yelling and throwing down a few cold ones and having a great time. 50 years Seafair, 49 for hydroplanes. 48 actually, 49 next year, because it was 49 years ago that Ted Jones built this plywood and mahogany boat. Had the concept that the boat could ride on 3 points, the 2 sponsons and the prop. And if he did that, he'd totally break the boat loose in the water. The boat would more fly, using the water for reference, as opposed to plowing through the waters as the unlimited racing boats did at that time. So he built this boat here in Seattle. It was sponsored and driven by Stan Sayers, a Plymouth Chrysler dealer who had his dealership down on Warren. And they went back to Detroit. Quickly became the laughing stock of the Motor City because the boat looked wrong. I mean, any respectable hydroplane was raw, 1 or 2 engines, and was heavy. And here was this funny, rather short, rather squat-looking thing, and they laughed until it went out onto the Detroit River, whereupon on one weekend it set every new world record. I mean, it broke the old records by 20 miles an hour. Of course, won the Gold Cup, came here, and it was in 1951 that we had our first race here. The course was a little different then. The pits were down at Mount Baker, about a quarter of a mile, half a mile south of here. The start-finish line was in this general vicinity on a barge that was out there. Lake. The race course was 3 miles around. It went all the way down to Seward Park practically, and then up toward the floating bridge. And you see, Seattle had nothing major league at that time. I mean, the Huskies only went to the Rose Bowl, like you mentioned, the Rose Bowl about once or about every 50 years. They would go. Minor league baseball, and that was it. And of course, Detroit had the Pistons and the Lions, and they'd had the Gold Cup. And suddenly we had a major league deal. We would draw 500,000 people to the races then. Of course, they were free.
Right.
Big factor. Some people had said Seafair was losing in popularity when the crowds diminished to only maybe 150,000 paid admission. And that was the key, paid admission. You see, ice cream sales would triple if it was free too. You know, I mean, anything that's free draws more
That's
people.
right.
But Seafair finally had to, as every race had to, charge admission because of the high cost of running such an event and the high cost of the boats and everything else. So anyway, here we south turn. Bill Muncie loses a rudder and sticks his Miss Thriftway into the side of a Coast Guard boat in 1959. 58?
1958.
Yeah. By the way,
Not to correct you, it's 1958.
listen, help me out. When you get older, it all becomes just a big jumble. You know, Curtis, you just can't figure the damn thing out. You know.
That's right.
Who knows what year it was, for God's sake.
A couple of years ago.
31, 58, 72 hike. But that was an interesting thing. Muncie, just before he hit the Coast Guard boat, he bailed out.
It hits the Coast Guard boat, completely enters the side of it. The hydroplane is buried in the side of the Coast Guard cutter, hit it at about 140 miles an hour.
Wow.
And just as the two are sinking beneath the water, one of the Coast Guardsmen who had been asleep in his bunk down below decks crawls out through the hole created by the thriftway just as it went down.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we're talking high drama there. But this race course out here, seen the Spectacular, seen the Winston do a complete somersault out there, the Winston Eagle. Saw just 4 years ago Miss Elam, an experimental boat, climb like 100 feet into the air and come down.
We have that on tape.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
that was
throw that on this tape here.
That was one of those extraordinary events. And it's a shame to talk about the accidents as extraordinary events, because the matter of fact is, the extraordinary thing is what this city has. And that is a log boom filled with billions of dollars of fabulous yachts, people along the shore here in the final spasms of Seafair each year, having a wonderful time.
Oh, yeah.
Hydroplaning is truly a Seattle sport. Most of the boats are based here. The drivers are from places like Mike Hansen's Federal Way, Nate Brown is Issaquah, Dave Vilwalk, Port Orchard, and Auburn now. Chip Ham 70 miles an hour for the lap.
Wow.
So the boats continue to go faster. The crowds continue to pack the shores around the country where the races are held. Some people think that hydroplaning over its 50 years, they look and they think it should go major league, play the big cities. The problem is the big cities don't have this. Lake Washington.
Lake Washington.
They don't have a Columbia River like Pasco. It takes a body of water, and it generally takes some municipally owned land along the shore to stage a race like this. So there's some cities where it just doesn't make any sense, and as a result, the sport will never get a foothold in those towns. But where the sport has gained that foothold, well, you look at Detroit. Crowd this year bigger than ever. You look at Seattle, you look at Pasco, San Diego, Honolulu, Madison, and Evansville, and now Newport, Virginia. And so the sport is alive, it is growing, it is strong. Seafair continues to grow, is so alive and is so strong. And, well, aren't we lucky to be a part of it?
Yes, we are.
Tell you what, Curtis, if you want kind of a little more history, I think the next place we ought to go with this little interview is down to the pits.
That's a good idea.
Stroll down there with our cameras and see what memories that evokes.
Oh, to bring back a lot of memories. So we're going to, ladies and gentlemen, with Pat O'Day, we're going to head on down to the hydroplane pits and talk more history with a legend here, Pat O'Day.
Well, then,
The rescue team.
Blues show is going to have to be a very low level today if it goes.
It's going to be nice.
I wonder if they can run the blues on instruments.
Come back, P4, I'm sorry.
Probably can. Knowing them, they probably
Is this the
can.
Dolly?
They've been here almost 30
Is
years.
this Dawn on the tower? This is Dawn. Okay, Dawn, the Dolly from Cairo.
That bay up there, I just got so busy with everything.
wonderful.
It'll be good footage up there. But back here.
Last time I was up there was 8 years ago. Went up there and saw the Eagle Point. Fantastic. First time I ever went up there was 71. There was a big island that was out there.
So if you were on the north-south side of the point, you're on the south turn. You're on the north side of the point, you're on the north turn. Other people saw the whole course from the pit.
Now, did you go to any of the other races besides Tri-City? Did you go travel to any others? Or?
No, sometimes.
Oh, looking forward to those. Looking forward to Sunday when they run those vintage hydros.
It's only like 5 years. Like 76.
dropped by the crane right over here. The boat was about 20 feet in the air, ready to go out on the course, and was lifted up on the crane. And usually there's people around underneath it. By some happenstance, no one was there as they dropped the boat the full 20 feet, and it crashed back onto the finger pier, shooting up in the air, and that was the grand introduction. No damage done, because it was just what do they call it, a fuel fire, you know, inside the engine. But anyway, the flames went way up in the air, and the fire trucks turned their sirens on, and everybody thought the world had come to an end, of course. But in the pits, I can't help but think of names in the pits. I think of the late Steve Woomer. Well, we're going to be walking on down.
That's right. Let's walk on that way.
Of a high-speed, high-G pylon racing turn.
I've got a lot of personal memories here too, but we're here to talk
Into the pits on the shore side. This is an area where traditionally the floats were housed. You see, Bernie Little always had his spot. Bill Munson spot over there on the other side. Steve Woomer was up at the end. We'll get up there in a moment.
Appreciate this.
Which we can do, in spite of the low ceilings we have. From your left, once again, Mr. Wayne Hanley in the Oracle Turbo Raven.
And we have a blower and a quick one.
It's always good to have you here, my man. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Thanks very much.
All right.
There's your
Ladies
coffee
and
back.
gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause all the way up here from Greenfield, California, Mr. Wayne Hanley.
I told the guy to be here at 10:25 and asked me for an autograph.
Okay. All stage. As always.